Ah,
Hello, it's Merrill.
and it's Katrina. Tag team. After the solstice, after December 21st, we thought what a great idea because it is the new year and we're going to see what's on for the Trumpster and what kind of damage he's going to do to America and the rest of the world between now and the 20th of January. And have a bit of a look at Biden and how successful his team's going to be. And hopefully at the end of it, we'll be able to squeeze in what the energies of this fantastic conjunction and Saturn and Jupiter, and I think Uranus is coming in, and there's some Chiron floating around, what's going to happen for the year. And so, yeah, let's hang on and let's to a seat of your pants and let's see what Trumpster's going to do.
We're also going to have a look at how Trumpism might be developing post-Trump. And that's something I'm kind of interested in. I feel really positive about the new world that's opening up. But I also have a fear around, or a thought around freedom of expression. Is freedom of expression for everyone? And does that also mean that the extremes become more extreme? So I'm interested to see in what he's represented, what sort of seed that really has planted.
Yeah. Are we going to be an earth of two alternate truths? What Trumpsters believe and what the rest of us believe. And yeah, exactly.
And one more thing.
So
I've been a beautiful set of mini THOTH tarot cards has been donated by Sharon Glue. And you don't often find this smaller size deck. Normally the THOTH deck are very large. So this is a special set. So I'm going to be using these for our Trumpster tarots, but also they're brand new but pre-loved. They've been cleansed in the moon, and I'll be giving these away through our Heart of Tarot website, and there'll be a code word that comes up during our tag team tarot. And that code word means the first person to DM the code word will get the tarot cards sent to them. Thank you, Sharon. Will we get stuck into it, Miss Katrina?
Let's do it. Let's do it. So the first one we're going to look at, the question for the tarot is, Trump, how is he? What's he thinking? You know, what's his kind of demeanour at the moment? How's he feeling? We're going to throw that out. And let's see what Spirit can tell us about Donald Trump.
So I'm only going to draw a few cards on this. If you want to go for it, go for it. But I'm only going to do the 3 bang.
Yeah, yeah. You know who, as I'm shuffling the cards, you know who I keep thinking of, who I'd love to interview is that Trump, Mary Trump. His niece that wrote the book. She's been spot on about him every turn, and I really like her a lot. Okay.
Yeah, well, she's also got the background to understand that really unhinged behaviour and see through it. Like, we can't go on being shocked by that behaviour anymore. Anyway, my 3 cards. So where is Mr. Trump at? Princess of Swords. I say that's Ivanka. The universe. Ending it all.
Yeah.
Queen of Swords. Justice. Truth. He's trapped between 2 swords. What's his state of mind? Very mental. I'm going to read Princess of Swords is Ivanka, but it's also wildly rebellious, unskilled use of law and justice. So I haven't really got corrupt cards here. I've got his mental state is still in battle and justice is coming for him. This is paramount in his mind. But the universe, that's the end of the cycle. That's the world card. He still thinks he can win, but it's the end.
Yeah, yeah, totally foolhardy. Well, I actually do have justice in mind, and what I've got here is the overall is him trying to get into safer waters and using justice to try and do that. And that's the overall, that's the overall feel of it. But what we've got here, and I get this a lot with him lately, is the Queen of Pentacles. And the way I'm reading that with him lately is his disloyalty to country. His, you know, seditious, he's treasonous in a way. Some of the things he's doing and has done, and crossed by reckless action. He's already lacking money. He's already lacking funds. He's out. And I've got the Devil card. I've got the King of Swords, another legal card. That's coming up in the future. And what's coming up in the future is legal issues, lack of strength, the Tower.
Ooh.
So the way I read it,
just imploding.
Yeah, absolutely. And underneath it all, he is doing, and this is, I love this card in the Spellcaster, it's the Page of Swords, but this card, what it kind of means is, look how oversized the sword is. Like, he's making out as if he's got all this potential, he's got all this, you know, fraud case and all this, you know, evidence, and he knows he's got what it takes to overturn the election, and he doesn't. It's all absolute, you know, made up, and on top of it, the behaviour is the devil.
Yeah.
You know, it's just
that sword in the wrong places.
And he's trying to manipulate everything. He's trying to this is where it comes in. He's trying to manipulate, and we've got justice. He's got nothing to back himself up, and he's got the Tower, and that's it. He knows. So this is what he knows. He knows that he is going down the gurgler. He knows he doesn't have the stuff to protect himself. He's trying to turn everyone else into his own kind of wall, you know, and to protect him. But at the end of the day, he knows that he can't get out into safer waters without just using the legal system in some way. So it'll be interesting to see what we come up with, what other damage he can do between now and the 20th. Because the way I read this is he's going to do something traitorous. He's going to do something nearly treasonous.
Well, that Six of Swords there also makes me think of him fleeing the country.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I had this meditation where I saw him, it felt like it was like Mar-a-Lago or somewhere that was his after the election. And what I saw was, you know, when someone's got their hands handcuffed behind their back, it was like that, but he didn't have handcuffs on, but he was walking around as if he did. And there were all these kind of men in black. So he could walk around and everything, but he was constantly monitored. And in a way, he was kind of bound. He couldn't really do anything. So I think that the feeling I got from that was that he is going to be, they don't trust him already.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they shouldn't. It's like time to stop being shocked. Interesting. Yeah. I got Princess of Swords and you got Page of Swords.
Yes.
And I got Queen of Swords and you got the King of Swords.
Yeah. So there goes the story. Yes. It's all out there.
Mm. So do you want to have a look at how much damage he can do in the last 30 days?
Yeah. Are you going to throw out a whole thread on that?
Say that again, honey.
Are you going to throw out a whole pile of cards, or are you just going to do the 3?
I'll just do 5 and fill in gaps. Yeah.
Okay.
How much damage can be done? And we know this personal, you know, like personally pardoning Paul Manafort or whatever, that's damaging, but there's long-term undercurrent damage, the way that erodes that sense of justice. Cards are flying out. I just got the Princess of Wands and the Emperor. So the Emperor Donald Trump and Princess of Wands trying desperately to send a flame. I'm seeing this as inciting action.
Yeah.
So these two cards are flown out. I'm going to shove them back in, but
The thing with that last spread coming out with a lot of swords, yours and mine, is that are any of the pardons for, you know, you didn't talk, you didn't put me in. So if that's the case, that actually can be considered a crime in a way. So that's what makes me wonder.
oh, and pardons that he's promised, money that he owes so much money. Who is he pardoning is paying for pardons, because that's leverage that he's got in this 30 days. And like I said, we mustn't be surprised at how low it can go.
Oh, yeah. Just when you think the bar's gone low, it just dips a little bit lower.
And things I can't imagine. So I can't imagine how low it can go. Because I can't imagine, I don't think like that.
Well, I think on the 6th of January, it's going to be interesting when it comes to Congress and the two houses get together and they have to kind of, in a way, ratify, you know, what all the states have done. And he's already pressuring Pence to do something, as he's considered like the president of the Senate. So it'd be interesting to see if any of his kind of, you know, guys like Matt Gaetz and McCarthy and Lindsey Graham, he's down there golfing with him at the moment over Christmas.
So he's been quiet.
So what have you got? Have you got anything yet?
I've got, so how much damage? Signify card, Knight of Swords. So we've got all this mental activity, and Knight of Swords is a very aggressive mental activity. Kiss, yeah, jinx. Yeah. So number one is creating a mental storm, moving very quickly and creating a lot of division very aggressively.
Yeah.
So this 30 days is going to be a flurry of activities. Underneath, we've got the 8 of Wands. So again, movement, very, very fast movement.
Yeah.
Very fast. Interesting to me, that rainbow. I don't think he's very rainbow orientated. And this is also about Mercury in Saturn. Mercury in Sag, this card, which is broadcast, mass tweeting, mass broadcast, communication that takes on its own life and challenges. It goes beyond what we normally expect. It's excessive.
Yeah. And the good thing about Trump is he generally tends to tell you in advance what he's about to do.
All psychopaths do. Oh, well, actually, the really a certain type don't, but most of them do.
Yeah.
Stop being shocked. If you marry Trump, you can hear and go, oh, now I know. Thanks.
Yeah. Just get her out in front.
Yeah. Interesting. What I've got for him, what damage can he do in the next 30 days is the Hierophant. So this is in actual government. It's with laws, with the system. It's the damage he can do eroding the system of democracy.
Yeah, that's the Congress card.
Yeah, I don't fully get it, but this card can also mean those sort of like religious doctrines. I'm not really feeling that with this, but we can't discount it. But essentially, what damage can he do? He can do big damage to the sense of democracy and within the government, the way it runs. What's in the environment?
Well, he's already started replacing the National Security Council with his own kind of loyal, you know, people and things like that. But I think that card also is a big indicator for something. Him trying to do something on the 6th of Jan. Okay. When both houses, you know, come in and have to, because if one house someone stands up and says, well, I disagree with what the states have done, then they have to go in and vote and discuss. If both houses, the Senate and the House of Representatives, both come up with it, then you're causing, you know, it could cause a lot of trouble.
Interesting. Okay, so this next card might tell us a bit about what that trouble does. Otherwise, we're going to do a clarify. High Priestess. Bloody love this card. Look at that card. Isn't that amazing?
I love it.
Yeah. So this is what's in the environment. This is what's external. Secrets. Who's holding the secrets? Who has the knowledge? Who's staying silent? Lindsay Graham, one staying silent at the moment. What damage can he do? There's a lot of hidden stuff that's going on. Yeah, this isn't the inward card, so it's the inward expression of the inward damage, the damage to the inner world and the inner thinking.
Yep, I think Lindsay Graham is your typical numbers counter in the Senate, and I think that they're down there together in Mar-a-Lago playing golf, actually counting the numbers and seeing what they can do. That's what I think. Have you got any other cards? Or?
Yeah, one more card is an outcome. What sort of damage? What are we looking at as the undercurrent, the Empress? So it's damage to food supplies, to surplus checks, to money getting out. It's damage to the feminine. It's damage to the sense of safety and abundance and nurturing. Underneath it, because the Knight of Swords and swiftness, the damage I think is really looking at how swiftly those surplus checks, the what are they calling them? Stimulus checks. That's what I'm not surplus checks, stimulus checks. There's something around that, but because we've got the High Priestess in the environment, these won't get support. What I'm thinking, it can't. How can the High Priestess has trouble getting up to become the Empress? She likes to stay hidden. So that's what I've got. I might just do a clarifier over that Empress.
Yeah, a yes or no kind of thing, right?
Yeah. So what is victory? What damage can he do? He wants to claim victory, and he's going to be using those getting something out fast, and turning off or being very, very aggressive to get there.
Okay, that sounds
kind
of what we were saying.
And that maybe those stimulus checks getting through.
He doesn't care about $2,000.
No.
He abandoned the whole process and passed it off to Steve Mnuchin to take, to drive through. And it was the Republican Party that refuted all the high figures that the Democrats initially came up with. And now Trump's, at the very last minute, he's the kind of person that would say, you didn't vote for me, so now I'm going to get back at you.
Yeah.
I'm going to hit you where it hurts. That's what he's doing. What I've got here again.
Sorry, it's a classic system too, with that kind of personality, that you just throw a curveball. You just throw cannonballs no matter what it is. If it's black, it's white. If it's white, it's black. If it's 600, no, it's 2,000. It's got nothing to do with what the integrity with the outcome. The outcome is just to disrupt, to hold the power. That's all it is. So what do you got?
Here's the king of chaos. I've got, funnily enough, as the overall is the chaos is him, the loyalty. This one I'm reading the Queen of Pentacles as he's really trying to garner loyalty to himself. Everything's about, are you loyal to me, not whether he's loyal to them. And he's going to defend himself to the bone. He is so desperate. So every action is really about him trying to defend himself, even though he is caged and he can't do it. He is going to put forward more things about justice. I think he's only just lost his last lawsuit in the Supreme Court of Wisconsin, but he's going to do more, and it's all smoke and mirrors. So anything legal he puts up, even the stuff that goes, I think that will go on in the Congress, it's all smoke and mirrors. It isn't tangible. It doesn't have proper backing. it's just that chaos, you know, throw the cat amongst the pigeons. But the cat doesn't have any claws, in a way. So he's going to do it, but he knows he can't actually be effective with it. It's rash actions, and he knows that he's going to lose it. So everything he's doing, that's the Five of Cups and the Knight of Swords, everything he's doing.
Knight of Swords. And you got Queen of Pentacles in the previous read, didn't you?
Yeah. I got that in the previous read as well. So everything he's doing, he knows he can't win. He knows it. He knows he's lost. This is all about him putting as much chaos and making it as difficult for the new government coming in, the new administration coming in. What he's trying to do is, I've got these cards coming up. He knows he's got to start again. And I've got the Six of Swords again. It's kind of like, what I'm getting is, look over here, because I'm doing something over here. Look over here.
Yeah.
And because he has no shame, like the rest of us would go, oh, we can't do that. That would absolutely look like ridiculous. He doesn't have that kind of shame trigger. And at the end of it, he's worried about money because, remember, he's trying to collect money and he's worried about being the emperor and how much he can be expansive, how much he can grow the brand. This is still about, I think, the brand of Trump. So he's doing all of this knowing he's not going to win, knowing that it won't work. So it's not about, to him, it's not really about winning, like retaining the presidency anymore. It's just about winning by hurting people, by creating chaos and keeping his base that he needs to keep funneling money to him and buying, submitting money through his website. That's going to go to pay for all the stuff post-presidency. Yeah. He's got a lot of loans coming to pay off the loans. He's got to do that. And it's all smoke and mirrors. It's all Seven of Cups.
I got at the bottom of my pack, so that the underlying issue here, I got the Nine of Wands. It's strength in the Thoth deck. But in the Rider-Waite, you will recognise this as that defence card. I actually call it the paranoia card. All he can do is react. And it's that defensive position. His back is against the wall. And, you know, what can I say? That famous thing, when the revolution comes, you'll be the first with your back against the wall. So it may be.
This was at the bottom of my one, Ace of Pentacles.
Yeah. That
underneath it all,
Queen of Pentacles coming up twice, which to me, with him, is very much holding all the focus is in what he can grab materially out of this.
He's nurturing himself.
What transactional worth people are, what transactional worth that opportunity is. What transaction can he get?
Yeah, and it so works in well. What's happening to him works in so well with the energies of the conjunction, where those systems that have supported him for so long are now crumbling. The energy, he doesn't have that momentum and the energies around him anymore to sustain. You know, it's not in his favour anymore.
Especially if he's putting so much, as far as energy goes, where thought goes, energy flows. So the amount of energy he's putting into getting back revenge and vindictive behaviour, he'll be feeding off that and getting big from it. But that energy starts to implode because it hasn't got a natural, healthy outlet. It's sort of against the laws of nature. So it does end up imploding and making people sick. Yeah,
and he's just, taking some terms from, I kind of follow the law of one, and he's becoming more and more a negative polarity as such. Yeah. He was, before he became president, he was annoying and you know, he didn't pay his bills and he was known for certain things, but it was kind of just really in New York. Now he's grown and expanded, but all he's done is extend within himself this negativity. And he's become more of that kind of person. He's done more damage to himself. The world can recover. He won't be able to.
Yeah.
You know. Okay, so here's the one that you really, is it, oh no, will he get arrested or be subpoenaed?
Yeah. Once the Biden administration has come in, he's in Mar-a-Lago right now. I mean, some people are reporting that the word is he may not go back to the White House. He may disappear from Mar-a-Lago, but will he get arrested? Are there subpoenas being lined up, ready to pass over him? Just as Twitter is saying that they cancel his account as soon as he's not president anymore. So are we getting that handover? And
William Barr, who in the end did not back him up. He went into pure self-survival mode, and now we've got that other guy who's never prosecuted anything in his life. Will he be able to stand up against Trump because Barr just basically slunk out, you know, the back door of the castle before it got him overrun, you know?
He has a lot to answer for.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so arrested, subpoenaed. I know that a lot of readers haven't been able to see him get arrested, but energies have changed.
What do you got there, Katrina?
No, he's going to try and protect himself, but we've got the King of Swords. They're going to at least talk to him. At least talk to him. He is so worried, but what he's worried even more about is money. That's what he's worried about.
Yeah.
I think too, because he's probably needs so many lawyers and he won't have the Justice Department anymore to back him up. He's got some choices, but he doesn't have any depth. Yet again, we've got that Page of Swords. The sword's so big, but really doesn't have the weapons to fight anything. I think at the very least he's going to be indicted at some point. And even at a later date, we didn't put kind of a sunset clause on this, did we? I think at some point he will get arrested.
Right. Well, I've done 4 cards. So the first card situation, Princess of Cups. So very emotional, trying to put the word in people's ear, trying to smooth those justice to go in the way he wants. So Princess of Cups sends that, just sends the messages. Is equivalent to the Page of Cups in right away. So trying to get the word out, trying to lay a foundation to get what he wants. Sorry, past, present, where he is right now is madly trying to get the money together. And this is the Queen of Discs. So I'm also thinking there may be a female, because our question was, will he get arrested? I'm also thinking there's a female right now who is working on those arrest papers, following the money trail. It's discs. It's about the money and the business.
Well, there are 2. There's Letitia James from Manhattan.
Manhattan, yes.
And that's a state. That's not a federal. So even if he pardons himself, he won't be able to avoid that one. And then, what's her name? Audrey something or other. She took over from Jeff Berman with the Southern District of New York, which is federal. And she's the one who's been investigating Rudy Giuliani and those 2 guys, Lev Parnas and Igor Fruman. So there's 2 women that are actively working on Trump cases at the moment.
Yeah. And I was seeing this very much as the money trail, and with the Princess of Cups before it. And I'm just hearing all the whispers, like deals being made while he's on the golf course, but also these people also giving whispers and information to the challenge is the Hanged Man. So the normal people with Trump type of personality, they're very litigious, but what they do is they hold up all the courts. They pull things at the last minute. They delay, they put in appeals. They try to just stop it from reaching a conclusion, which is really their modus operandi for all their interactions. So the challenge is the hold-ups, the hangman, trying to stall and delay. But our question was, will he get arrested, indicted or subpoenaed? I've got the sun at the end, a yes card. So same outcome as you. The answer to this question is yes, according to these cards.
Yeah. And there's a third woman as well, E. Jean Carroll, the one that accused him of raping her. And then he called her a liar, so she took him to court for slander.
Uh-huh.
And that's as well. Underneath, I've got the Four of Swords. So if he doesn't, I have a feeling that if he does get arrested and indicted, whether he'll even go to jail, because I think there's illness or
a health risk. And that card, what deck are you using? I love that card with the wolves.
Yeah, that's Spellcaster deck.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah, that's the back of the deck. And the wolves are all through the swords. And I love wolves anyway.
Yeah.
It's great. Yeah.
To me, that picture is so like Gulliver's Travels or something, which was itself, you know, a socialist fable about when you get too big and how you forget how strong the little people are, the workers are. That's what that reminds me of. Underneath my lot, I've got the Princess of Discs. So
we love the princesses today.
Yeah, we've got these women following the money trail, and the money trail being what. And I also actually, Princess of Discs, I would also see as someone speaking the bottom line truth, like staunch, not going back on their word.
Yeah.
So if any of these, if you're picking up any of the women that have put in sexual harassment type of claims on him, I see them not backing down. And it's the money.
A woman who has another claim that she's been told that her case can go forward.
Yeah.
You're spot on there.
Cool.
Wouldn't it be nice if it was women that brought him down?
Well, it kind of is. You know? It's the feminine.
Yeah.
It's the feminine that's bringing him down, because we need wholeness and we need to regenerate. And, you know, this is what I'm excited about, except our next question. How will Trumpism develop around the world and in the US post-Trump?
Yeah.
What does this post-truth world look like? I'm going to use my Illuminati deck for this.
Yeah, we need illumination. Isn't it funny when the same cards come up? You know. Yeah.
Yeah. I had a housemate who was brilliant with numbers and a bit of a poker genius, like just for the mathematics of it. And I could go down, and he was also very Christian. So he didn't, he couldn't go anywhere near tarot. It was like he respected that I did. I respected his view, however. But I could go down and say, hey, I just did a reading, or like I did 3 readings with 78 cards, and the same card came up 4 times, and he'd go, he could sit there and do the maths of it, and it's like better than really good poker odds. This is tarot is beyond poker odds.
Oh, yeah. I did a reading the other day, and it was about, I think it was about Boris Johnson and Brexit and everything like that. And the card that kept coming up no matter what, how many spreads I did, was magician, magician, magician. And it was all about just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing went through all about Boris Johnson. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. It's like, when are you going to get some morals about what you're doing? It was like that. So have you got some cards yet about the Trumpism?
I'm still getting there. You have a go.
Okay. What I've got is, yet again, like the spellcaster deck. One of the reasons I like it is because there's some kind of changes, a little bit of meanings. I read cards a little bit differently in this deck than Rider Waite. And we've got the Nine of Cups. We're here normally in Rider Waite, that would be like a big yes card, get what you wish for. But one of the things about this card that I always read is the genie comes out of the bottle, like comes out of the lamp, right? But the genie can't wish anything for itself. It can only wish for others. And then we've got, trying to marry things up, trying to celebrate and join forces with others. But I just don't see it working because of this card. That's the Four of Wands. And I just don't see it working because you got that too. Because this card is kind of like, well, the genie has to wish it for you. The genie can't wish for itself. So how are you going to get that? It just seems a little bit more Seven of Cups to me, this particular card. So I don't see it as working as much. And I think it's all talk. I think it's all, there goes the Page of Swords again. It's all talk, challenged by people really wanting to come to it. And we have loss again. And if anything's going to happen, it's going to be about how can I make money from people. It's not about a true ideology of any kind. And at the end of the day, he's going to run into issues. He's going to have justice chasing him and he's going to have to defend himself. I kind of read it that Trumpism, as far as him being involved and him really running it and directing it and it being his baby, I just don't see it. It may come out in another form, but I don't see him being able to do it. I think it's like the Tea Party. The Tea Party kind of eventually went underground and became the Freedom Caucus. It kind of, and then, the Republican Party hasn't been the Republican Party for a long time because you had the Tea Party, then you had the Freedom Caucus, now you've got Trumpism. Something else will come up. It'll be called something else.
I find it interesting how, because I sort of see the Trumpism as being just an anti-maskers and that sort of thing. It's a freedom of expression, but it's very fear-based. It's not, in my thinking, freedom doesn't come through fear. It comes through the spirit expanding. It doesn't come through closing down. So where am I going with that? So this fear-based thing, it's interesting that appropriation of names like Freedom Caucus is appropriate. To me, that's what it is. It's just appropriation. It's now calling themselves a Freedom Caucus. It's like it's based in fear. It's not.
It's just a good PR job. That's all it is. And what I find interesting is I think this is just a continuation of what happened in the 80s when we had the oil crisis. And you saw all the Americans lined up with their huge American cars at the petrol stations, and they were being told then, do you really need a big car? Like, do you really need such a big life? And the Americans were like, I'm not compromising my lifestyle. I like living this way. And it's exactly the same. America does not like to compromise on its comforts.
I have to say, because I'm addicted to watching van life YouTubes. And the amount of people, I mean, it's tiny houses, bit of a movement, yes.
Love tiny houses.
Van life stuff, the amount of people who've started up a YouTube channel because they're living in their car since March 2020, April 2020. The amount of just even, and it's mind-boggling. It is absolutely mind-boggling the amount of people that are now living in their car and doing it as a lifestyle, but it's started through like a choice. Like, I can't have those choices anymore. Like the oil crisis, I've got to think different.
But you know what is the epitome of it? You know, there was a guy interviewing people on the street, and he said, because you know there's Obamacare, and then there's, what is it, universal health care, or whatever they call it, the official name for it, the Health Care Act. And they went to people and said, what do you think about the Health Care Act? And they were like, we love it, we want to be covered, we want, you know, these are all like Republican states they went into. And we want it, we want to be covered, and that's great. Okay, what do you think about Obamacare? Hate Obamacare. It's just, no, I don't want that, it doesn't work. And what they were talking about, exactly the same thing. It's just the PR of everything and how everything is, you know, perceived.
That's kind of what I've got in these cards, actually. How will Trumpism develop across the world post-Trump? So first card, same as you, I've got the Four of Wands. I read this as a stepping through card. It's it's not a new beginning, but it's a welcoming card. Trumpism has opened up the door of this. It's welcomed it out into the world. It's created a space where that kind of fear-based thinking, irrational, anti-science, you know, all of that stuff, self-serving, is that he's created an opening. Underneath the King of Wands, and this is what you're saying, the way the message is delivered. There's a space now for the message, that message of, it's hate speech, or freedom of expression. Is it a free spirit or a terror, or a freedom fighter or a terrorist? You know, it's absolutely boomed through broadcast and media and social media.
And you've got all these new conservative news networks now that basically have become replaced Fox, and people are going off now and watching these even more right-wing.
Yeah, it's very extreme, and it's quite astonishing to me, because I feel I've been kind of a happy socialist lefty all of my life, and now I'm starting to see, actually, you know what, I'm kind of mainstream. I have it since I'm going a bit off guard, but since our Conservative federal government, Scott Morrison, went completely socialist on us for COVID, I love it. Instead of being neoliberalist, he started giving out money, giving out, not surplus checks, what are they called again?
Stimulus checks.
Thank you, them. Taking care of the vulnerable. I just thought, isn't that interesting?
But it also just shows you, Merryl, that they're actually not anything. They are just want to be popular.
Well, I think it was a human need, and it was responded to. So this thing, how will Trumpism develop and grow? This is saying it will develop and grow on social media, through the message, through people in a position, King of Wands, to be able to broadcast that message. In the place of who's doing it, full. So we've got full energy in this cross line, this horizontal line, full step through, Ace of Pentacles. So these are all new beginning cards. There is a new beginning there, and it may be that extreme, those extreme views do become their own little entity. They need to attract the money, and money is, you picked up, money is behind this as well. So that's kind of what I've got in the here and now on the horizontal line, that yes, there is an opening for this, and it's through social media. But what I've got as the outcome is the Star. And this is an absolute card of the spiritual highest place you can go, card of healing and balance and acceptance, card of offering solace and protection to those vulnerable. So what I'm thinking with this is, it depends a bit how the social media companies handle this message, because it's a healing opportunity. So I'm kind of seeing it wants to get off the ground, but I'm seeing it will further isolate itself. And part of that will be a healing opportunity at how they get their message out. And my thought is that it needs more regulation and a different attitude from the companies that regulate the message.
Yeah, and when you showed the Fool card, the first thing that I got was it will be run by someone new.
Yeah, it's all new. Yeah.
The people will be new. It will take on a different thing. And I wouldn't be surprised either if it has not so much an evangelical, but those evangelicals that went, look, Trump really doesn't believe in God, doesn't, and they take that, they mix it, it all becomes kind of a mixture of things. And I think the old guard that, like Trump and the others, I just don't see them being in it. I think they're going to be kind of sacrificed as being, we can't be popular if we have these guys with us.
Yeah, that's very much the astrology too. What Trump represents is part of what the astrology has been really mashing up for the last 16 years, but in particular the last 5 years. So, we'd see that he's risen to the top, but I am very heartened actually that the star card is the outcome. So saying these groups have stepped through, new people are going to come, new masters at the message and the medium. However, the outcome is being able to integrate that, being able to balance that, and being able to heal that.
I think it's a really good read. I think it's an excellent read of that. Yeah.
All right. Do you want to have a look at how successful Biden's team will be at restoring the US, or do you want to go straight to your conjunction?
Maybe I might just throw out three cards on that for Biden.
Sure.
Just three, and then I think just 3 on the energies. Oh. Well, I had a card, what I call a jumper. I call them jumpers. That was the first one that came out, the Hermit.
So investigations. Oh, sorry, that's what I'd say.
Yeah, investigations, but I also, the first thing that came to me on it, and I agree on investigations, was having to really get through. I kind of see like the roots of a tree. If we want the tree to be able to stand up and grow properly, we really need to get in there and have a good look at what's been going on. A lot of research, a lot of searching, a lot of analysis, so that they know, okay, this is what we're dealing with, because they know for sure in this transition they're not getting all the information that they should be. And then I got the Lovers, so the choices, really looking at really good choices. And then the last card that came out was Page of Pentacles. So lots of new opportunities, lots of beginnings of growth. I know it's only a page, but you've got to start somewhere. So
it's a new beginning. Pages.
Yeah.
And allow maybe the voice of younger people and their concerns about the environment.
Yeah, and underneath it all, I see that the old king is dead. And that's one of the things I love about the spellcaster deck is in the Ten of Swords, the king of swords is actually the one on the ground with the swords in his back. And that just makes, complete sense. So Trump will be over. That's what it's saying to me.
All right, I'm just going to do 3 quick cards on how successful will Biden's team be at restoring the US. Got Hangman.
Yeah.
9 of Pentacles, which is a great card for restoring. Ooh, and the Moon. So, okay, so we had previously I had previously High Priestess in the environment, meaning there's so many secrets, so much has been shredded that there's still going to be mystery about what actually went on. So how successful, I've got to say, sadly, Moon card is not a yes card. And when it's in the outcome, it's very hard to read that there's a real positive, yay, accomplishment with this. What these 3 cards are saying to me is it's going to be very difficult. There's holdups at the start. And this waiting period is actually going to make an impact on what happens when the team get in. The fact that they don't have access to I don't know, security codes or whatever is making an impact. Action to take, they will go about restoring what they can around people having enough money, people having food on the table, people having education or jobs, probably the health system. Say again?
I think what that Nine of Pence is really saying there is, I mean, that talks a lot about your standard of living. And so the economy, people's standard of living will start to recover, jobs will recover, people can start paying off, you know, their rent again, their mortgages again, whatever. And then when I saw that moon, I went, but there's still all the stuff underneath that he buried that Biden's going to start going. It's what is underneath it all that's the concern. They can fix for everything for the American people, but America as its security and its the damage done to its infrastructure and things, that's the concern.
Yeah, and the amount of people living in their cars through winter, you know. So, I think this, you're right, standard of living will be addressed. But I am thinking there may be more of a recession. And because we've got Pentacles before it, I've got to say there's an economic issue that Biden won't be able to get on top of. And part of it is because of this waiting period. Yeah.
I actually did.
It's not over for America. It's the first wave is still in the first wave. I mean,
Well, I don't think the rest of the world is too much different. I did an economic read on Australia, America, Europe, Asia. I didn't do Africa, and the UK. And Australia kind of didn't look too bad really at all. America really had some issues because of COVID and the amount of money they have to spend. And then the UK was in dire straits, but the EU looked really for quite a while.
Yeah, I feel very so lucky to be in Australia. Just also looking, Katrina, that's the dream you had of Trump not handcuffed, but his hands behind his back. Ding.
Yeah. It has to become aggressive. Okay. So are we happy with that read?
A little bit sad about it, but it is to be expected. Yeah, we're happy with that read.
I think it's realistic. Like there has to be lots of searching and getting stuff together. I think for a lot of people the economy will improve, but they'll be better off. It's not going to, you know, but it's the underlying stuff that's the issue for America.
Where's the hamstrung is what I'm thinking too. Where they can't undo all that damage. He'll be signing things forever. Pardon me, I'm hiccuping. Okay, so having a look at the beautiful big Saturn Jupiter conjunction, happens once every 19 and a half years. It always sets off literally a new generation. Last one was in May 2000. One before that was in 1981. And so we're looking at the birth of a new 20-year cycle, but it's more significant with this one is Jupiter and Saturn, slow-moving planets, caught up at 0 degrees Aquarius for their conjunction.
I was going to ask,
it's very auspicious, not happened for 600 years, and it's the beginning of 200 years of Aquarian air theme governing the collective and also how we develop personally. So that's 2 seconds on the astrology.
Okay. I was going to ask you about the significance of them both being at 0 degrees.
0 degrees is the opening portal. Anything that's at 0 degrees of a sign, you can see it's like the door being opened and everything rushes in.
That's how I feel about this.
Yeah.
I hope the cards represent how I feel about it, but I'm trying to stay.
Never lie, let Katrina say. Yeah, that's what I feel very hopeful. There is a shadow to Aquarius energy that is also a bit scary, which is it's very intelligent mental energy. and it can cut off from emotion. So that's the one thing that you know, we're already doing more remote. We've moved from grabbing and hugging and kissing each other to a more respectful distance, and that is such a symbol of Aquarius, moving from Capricorn, where it's all covered in, and Aquarius is we're a bit more distant. Namaste.
I know. I mean, being a Virgo myself, I'm not great with Aquarius. Like, I actually dated one Aquarian guy my whole life, and he was complete mystery to me. I didn't understand him. And when we broke up, which I went, yeah, I was so relieved. Just could not handle Aquarius. But I feel good about this Aquarius.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's the best match for you. Except I know that you're very, you know, you've got the big intellect there, and you love to learn. So there's your Aquarius. Come to test you, I think.
Oh my God, that was true too. Okay, enough about my love life. What? I'll put these cards out. I've changed my deck too. I'm using Rider Waite now.
Yeah, I want to use Rider Waite. I've just drawn cards. And I think they picked up what we were talking about rather than taking me into the future of the next 20 years. I can read these cards if you like, but you read yours. I'm going to draw some others over.
You go ahead. You go ahead, Jo.
So I've drawn some from the Illuminati, but I don't think they're forward. They'll be involved somehow. The cards never lie. 9 of Wands is the first one. So we're talking, how will this Saturn and Jupiter conjunction, how will it change things and open up? What's it opening up? 9 of Wands is the card of defense and protection and a bit of paranoia, feeling embattled. Where we are now, 7 of Pentacles, just like licking our wounds, looking at what we've got to work with, looking at what we have invested in and where we can take it. And these, you know, that's Earth. So it's saying, did we invest in the Earth? The challenge is justice, getting the balance right, because we are at a tipping point and it's very important. And the outcome, the 6 of Cups, this takes you back looking nostalgically at the past. If it was an astrological event, it would be the South Node, looking back our past karma. So I'm going to draw cards on top of this, because to me, these are saying where you're at is really worn out and defensive. You're at a point where you've got to look at how you've invested, and we can't go backwards, but you've got to deal with the past. So
yes,
if you want to have a read, but I'm going to draw 4 cards over the top of them.
You keep going, because I think the meaning, flow is still there.
Okay. So on top of these 4 cards, we're going to go Rider Waite. We're going to endings. This is the ending of Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn, which is about generational wealth, family empires, the building of civilization. So that's where we've come for. Number 10, it is the end of that cycle. And what I've got with it, we're nervous about the end. We are embattled. Like, this has been a battle this last year. Yeah. Presumably that battle might be for, astrologically, it's going to be for another 3 or till 2023 when Pluto does leave Capricorn. Where we are now, grief. That's on top of the 7 of Pentacles. How far have we stuffed up? What have we got left to work with? And not quite sure how to move forward yet. The challenge, justice and the Tower card. Getting the balance right. What have we where have we taken our eye off the ball? The old way really is ended. So although this is a new beginning, 0 degrees Aquarius of a whole 20-year cycle, our 20-year cycle is going to be about the balance. It is going to be about, we think that we've broken through, but we have to deal with the aftermath. That's what this 20 years is going to be. I'd love to say it's going to be like the Jetsons and we're all, you know. Final card, it's about, I had Six of Cups deal with the karma.
Mm.
Fantastic. This is what I'm happy about. Hierophant. Getting our
Mm.
systems to be authentic, to be have integrity, getting our leaders to deal with compassion and with economics. COVID wasn't just an economic crisis, it was a health crisis too. And we have to deal with both of those. Any leader that just said it's an economic crisis, their country's in the shit. So getting the karma right and rechanging policy around it, that's what I'm getting for this 20-year cycle.
Okay.
Much happier. Okay, Katrina, what do you got?
Well, I don't think mine is that dissimilar. And I've just got it in 3 phases, really. What I've got is it's been such a burden.
Mm.
But now we're moving into the new. But the feeling I also get with this card is, but like, don't just go there blindly. Like, we need to have some wisdom and remember the burden. Like, we can drop it, but we can't just like drop it, you know, on our own toes kind of thing. So there is going to be a releasing of the burdens, that things are going to start letting go. We're going to feel lighter, but we do have to be careful of where we tread still. Then I've got, it's an end of phase, so it is an ending coming up. But we still do have to look at what's behind the curtain. The High Priestess always has something behind that curtain to reveal, to show us. So we need to still deal with that. But I do love her card because it's generally something that's educational for us. It's generally a little bit, you know, sweeter. She can be actually quite gentle if she chooses to be. And then we've got some decisions to make, and this is about the past as well, what you were talking about. So we do need to make some decisions about the past and not forget what we've just been through. But ultimately, I've got the 3 of Cups. It is going to be a year that we will end up being able to celebrate and feel good about what we've come out of. But I think that's more further right near the end of the year, to be honest, that things start to move. And I agree with you, but my feeling is that between now and 2023 is that's the time to get, you know, the opportunities we're going to get, we need to really work on them up to that date, 2023. Like, you don't want to be waiting 3 years and then all of a sudden start getting your act together. You do have to be opportunistic here and grab what you can and start working, you know, basically working on yourself and understanding, what have I done wrong? What can I do better? What do I need to move forward with? Otherwise, you'll miss it.
I think it's very hard to miss. So if you, like we were saying, is if you become, as you become more extreme, you may well experience that shadow of Aquarius, which is more isolated. And, you know, And
I think it's just, we've had the physical isolation. So I think, you know, if you've got in your head about being isolated, you need to really look at everything and decide what you need to break out of. Like, that's a burden, isn't it? Drop that 10 of Wands, that burden of that you've been carrying. And sometimes people don't realise what burden it is that they've been carrying either.
Yeah, it's family. I read this card as family karma, family law. You know, with this card, what I say, if you're on the team, if you're in, you're really in, but you're suffocated. And if you're not in on this game, you're out. You don't have the security of it. And these are going to be, this defense card is trying to defend that position, but it's indefensible now because the energy's changed. And that's why I think I got grief.
I think it's indicative of recognising that it's okay to work with new structures. Like, I was at, I told you we did sessions on December 21st, some chakra opening and activation meditations. And at the end of the second session that we had, there was a woman there who does she's online wellness, she's American, and she put forward this kind of idea about, hey, have you ever thought about maybe, you know, doing things this way and operating? And it was a way that I'd never thought of operating as far as, you know, being able to provide those types of meditations to groups. And it was one that kind of was really about sustaining, being able to sustain that. And yeah, like, we're going to have coffee and talk about it. We're already jumping on it because it was such a new way of thinking.
Yeah.
And dropping the old ways, the old patriarchal ways that we've been taught. And she came up with something completely different and new that was much more that, you know, feminine, matriarchal way of operating that helped sustain the community, not just people doing it. It was a more community-based suggestion. It was a great idea.
That's what they're saying. The Capricorn way is top-down authority. Aquarius is lateral. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to do, just before we wrap up, and don't forget to look out for the code word that's been inserted in our tag team here. If you want to be in the running for these beautiful mini-sized Thoth deck, fantastic cards, amazing cards. But do you want to draw? I'm just going to draw one card to kind of sum up that conjunction. And if you want to as well, that'd be great.
I will. Or I might use my Moon Oracle. Can I do that? The new ones I got.
Oracles. I'm going to be using these stunning Orion deck tarot by a Melbourne artist called Ambison. And they're just absolutely beautiful animals and Australian animals, birds, insects. So I'm looking for a word of hope for us. Tarot, how can you give us a bit of hope for this? What advice?
Just one?
Whatever you want, Katrina. I'm just going to do one.
Adjustments are required.
Oh, third quarter of the moon. Okay. So that's when the energy is building up to full moon dissemination phase.
Yeah.
So kind of what our read, or I can't remember yours, but my reading was saying this 20-year cycle, the next year is just kind of the beginning. This 20-year cycle is really the beginning of bigger change. Yeah.
The energy is gaining momentum.
Fantastic.
Oh, and a new romantic cycle begins.
Wonderful.
There you go.
I just got it's still there, a huge buzz through my ear. Like it's, I don't have tinnitus. I do have spirit guides. Thank you. I'm going to draw one card. Give us advice. 9 of Wands. Again, what I got here. So I'm getting that repeated message. Be careful. Guard yourself. Guard what is precious. Watch paranoia. Don't buy into conspiracies. We have been wounded and we need to learn. The idea with this, once you've been through an experience with a psychopath like Donald Trump, you're meant to learn, or else you'll just keep getting them. We need to learn and not be shocked. It's just immaturity. It's just very fear-based immaturity that unfortunately had a huge impact on a lot of people.
Yeah. Like, don't be shocked, but don't accept it either.
Yeah. And that's
ground.
the witch's creed, isn't it? Harm to none, but take no shit. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So adjustments are required. Yeah, that's good. I love it when the cards confirm each other.
Yeah. Like I said, these aren't poker odds. These are better than poker odds.
Yeah. That's a bit like the Queen of Pentacles earlier on.
Yeah.
Love
wow.
that.
Thanks, Katrina. That was fun.
It's always fun, Dal. Always. I love doing the tag team. We always get such nice, readings.
We get a lot. We're not in the same country, when just for our audience. We're not even in the same country doing this, but it's so nice just to get the report.
If anyone thinks like we're in rooms next to each other pretending, it's we're not. I'm in Asia and you're in Australia, so yeah, we really time zones apart. Okay.
All right. So goodbye from Merrill.
Goodbye from Katrina. Everyone have a beautiful new year. Do your best.